everybody, it's a lovely day in Whitby today. I'm Chris, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about the evolution of TQ Zine. This is TQ issue 78, and this is the latest one I've got. TQ 79 should be dropping through the letterbox at any time now, but it hasn't come yet, so we're awaiting that. But I'd like to take you back to 2017, and I was scrolling through the internet like you do, and I came across a post somewhere which said that a guy was starting a zine out. He'd already done issue 1 and he was giving it out for free. Did you want a copy? So I sent off for a copy, and that was issue 1 of TQ. I'm going to show you it now, but it's quite a delicate document, so it requires special handling. I'm putting on these gloves like Lucy Worsley does when she's handling a medieval document or something of that nature. So I keep it under lock and key at the side of my desk down here because it's quite precious, and I know people trying to get their hands on it, but here you go. Now this beauty is issue 1 of TQ. I feel like there should be some angelic music, but there isn't. As you can see, it's not got any design at the moment, and I think it's how many pages is it? No, I can't do that with gloves on now. That's a ridiculous idea, isn't it? So this is TQ issue 1, and it contains reviews, it contains a letters page, despite not having any contributors at the moment. It's got record reviews by bands like Toy, Chan Marshall, Art of Cat Power. It's got The Far Rainbow, had an excellent release on Linear Obsessional label, now sadly defunct, and a record by L. Pierre. I've no idea who that is, but the record had no cover, if I remember, and the idea was that any scratches or nicks or dirt it picked up being stored without a cover on were part of the playing process and should not be complained about, but were actual artifacts that should be listened to. So I discovered that it was all the creation of a guy called Andy Wood, and he's become a great friend now, Andy Wood. I've never heard of him at 2017, but there you go, that's how your life changes. And it's quite a thing bringing out a zine and doing it all yourself and hoping that other people get interested in it. And I know other zines inspired him because he's mentioned them here, like Hiroshima Yeah, Totally Nang, Personal Best, Stunt Rock. I see the first issue as being a call to arms, kind of like sending a flare up to light up the countryside, see who's around and getting them involved too. And as I say, issue 2 contents are printed in TQ. Number 1, an interview with Lee Etherington about Tusk, album reviews, The X, an appreciation, a review of Brian Wilson, C6 Steve and Martha Reeves and the Vandellas, and more. It cost £9 to be sure of getting the further editions of this zine, so I sent mine £9 off, which will cover a year of TQ, and waited by the letterbox. It's 1 month later, August of 2017, and what should pop through the letterbox and land on the doormat but an envelope containing issue 2 of TQ. And here it is. Look at that. Smoothly moving into view. I've been working on that for a while. Beautiful effect. So this is TQ2, and as you can see, it differs from TQ1 in that it's got a designed cover with an illustration on it by Ash Cook, and although the cover's not in colour again, inside there are colour photographs, and it's got what's described in the editorial as a whopping 28 pages. There's also a little extra for subscribers, people who'd subscribed on the strength of the first issue, and that was a badge, and I think it was this little TQ badge here. I could be wrong about that. I've got a little box of badges and I fished this one out, but it looks most like the early TQ style, so maybe it's that. Issue 2 also boasted the first guest writer, and that was Alex Reed, who wrote a piece about the X called Beautiful Frenzy. And Alex is a great friend of Andy's from years back, and he's a wonderful poet, and he's released some CDs as well with musicians of his poetry, which is great. There are links below the video, so please click on them and have a listen. Oh, excuse me. There's also a review of a gig in the Sound Room, which was a Gateshead venue, and the gig was set up by Lee Stoko of Culver, and that's a review. And as you can see, it's printed in extremely small font, and that just highlights how much more content there was in this second edition. It also contains a lot of reviews of 3-inch CDs that were sent to Andy, and an interview with Lee Etherington about the fantastic Tusk festival. He's of course the organiser of Tusk, which is sadly now also defunct. There was also a CD sent in from Joe Hyam of Brussels, Belgium, which shows you that even after issue 1 how far TQ reached. So there's clearly a gathering of momentum here, like a snowball rolling down a hill in Northumberland somewhere. And let's see what issue 3 brings. So it's September 2017, and this little beauty is TQ3. A little bit of colour has started to creep into the cover design, designed again by Ash Cook. And when I opened TQ3, this fell out, which is a flyer for Cone 6. Cone 6 is described as an evening of original composition and free improvisation, and it took place on September the 29th, 2017. Cone is organised by Martin Donkin, Trubanot, as he's known. He's currently a member of Shunyata Improvisation Group, but in this case he was sorting out these evenings, and there were various pairings of musicians. It sounds like a very interesting concept, and indeed there's as well as an interview with Martin, there's a review of Cone 4 in this issue. 4/5 of the World Can't Be Wrong is a longish piece by Tony Wilson, who I think is a drummer. He reviews various albums of world music, and it's interesting that he harks back to when he was a child watching Tarzan films, and he was always fascinated by the tribal drumming. A letter received after the first issue of TQ from a guy called Nigel said that Third, the LP by Soft Machine, was a fantastic piece of music. How about a reflection on that? Well, step up to the plate, Dave Scott, who does an excellent piece about that particular album. And then we come to something called #NoiseLife, which is a host of tiny reviews by Paul Margrie, or Pops Margrie if you prefer, of We Need No Swords fame, and these are basically tiny reviews of left field music releases, noisy stuff, that kind of thing, you know, the sort of stuff. I'll read a few of these out to you, culminating in the shortest of them all, which is a 9-word review. That's if you count Giorgio as one word, which is hyphenated, so technically it is. Monty Burroughs, Skewer. Songs of broken machines, croaks from grey circuit heaving upwards. Giovanni Lamy, Hysteresis 2. Exquisite decay, loam and grit in ferric disorder. Come outside. And Chick White, Raft Recordings from Economy. Tidal Giorgio, Woody Slathers, Gasps and Gulps, Watery Twangs. So there you go, that's poetry for you, that is. I'm loving that. My favourite piece out of the 3rd issue was a review by Livy Mae Wilkinson, who was 8 at the time, of a Little Mix concert she went to. And I hope that it'll take her forward into seeing more live music and branching out a little bit, but you've got to start somewhere, and going to a live concert is a fantastic thing, and she should be very pleased with herself for that. Don't know what kind of concert she's going to these days, but maybe you never know. Issue 4 is looking good. It's got a much more colourful cover, and it's got 28 pages. It's got a picture of a hand pointed upwards, which is surely the way TQ is going to go. It's a large article about Linear Obsessional, the record label, helmed by Richard Sanderson of Hither Green, London, and they released loads of cassettes and CDs. They're now sadly defunct, like so many of the other things that are spoken about in the early editions of TQ. So hats off to Richard for doing that and providing us with some excellent music. There are more reviews than ever in this one, and there are reviews of lots of releases by people like Bitter Lake, Vluba, Duncan Harrison, and Yol as well. There's a superb piece by Mick Sharp about the time he saw This Heat playing Monk's Eaton. It encouraged him to change his own band and become far more experimental. The band gained the name Not Drinking Water, and they played at a school disco. They decided not to play on the stage. They played at the same level as the rest of the kids, and they kept getting asked when they were starting whether they knew any songs, whether they were just tuning up, stuff like that, and Mick says they weren't very good. But nevertheless, having seen This Heat in Monk's Eaton and taking something from that, what a cool thing. There's also #Noise Life, and I'm going to read you 3 of the things from #Noise Life, 3 of the tiny little reviews, because I enjoyed it so much last time. Let's find #Noise Life. Daniel Cordick and James L. Malone, Hit Me. Teeming bacterial soundscapes, the whole wide world in a drop of water. Early Hominids released the catchily titled 040117. Controlled Circuit Galumph, gripe water for the soul and diodes. And finally, Aquadentata, one day you will be a painter. This is a review. Wiring diagrams reimagined as opalescent hallucinations. Limpid. Opaque. At the end of a review of Hand of Glory by Yol, there's a little advert for TQ5, and it says that it's going to be a Tusk special and it'll be out in October. That's something to look forward to, isn't it? I'll leave you with the back cover. So in November 2017, this big boy arrived. This is TQ5. It's a Tusk special, and it's a whopping 40 pages. And there were two things that fell out of it. Two little flyers. One of them was advertising TQ on the radio, on Radio Prudder. There's going to be a live stream of eclectic sounds. I have no idea how that went. Maybe somebody can enlighten me. It also had this fantastic piece of artwork, which is TQ spelled out in tea bags, and these videos are nothing if not powered by tea, so cheers. I love a cup of tea, I do. Anyway, back to TQ5, there it is. The Tusk special. So you might be able to hear some noise in the background. I think the next door neighbours are having a barbecue. Anyway, it kicks off with an interview with Joe Murray and Hassan Gailani, who curate the film festival at Tusk. And the films are always a magical experience because there's all sorts of things going off, you know. There's something for your eyes, something for your ears, and there's something for your brain as well. Lucy Johnson describes brain bombs playing at Tusk and the experience of their unpredictability and their really strong sort of rhythmic sense. We hear from Graham Hopper, who produced some artwork of startling intensity, and apparently it was projected onto the walls, huge walls on this particular Tusk. I didn't go to this festival, but that sounds an absolutely mesmerising sort of visual treat. There's an interview with Duncan Harrison the morning after his gig there, and he speaks of his love of broken tannoys and broken equipment and how he likes to integrate that in his music. And then there's a little bit about the Fringe, which is run by Mariam Razai and Adam Denton, in this case at the old police house, and it's somewhere to go after the main acts have finished. So it's signed off by Lee Etherington, describing starting with a blank drawing board for the 2018 Tusk Festival, and I did actually attend that one, and it's covered in a further issue of TQ. So there you go, TQ5, the Tusk Special Edition, 40 pages, tons to read in that one. TQ's really got its own personality now. It's come together, it's cohering as a whole thing, as an idea, more than a zine. So let's see where it goes from here. This is the end of this little series of videos. We've gone through the first 5 issues of TQ. Maybe there's more. Who knows?